It means they're lazy. It means they're not serious. It means they don't have strong perspectives to bring to the table.
Garland?
Well, over the last 24 hours, here's what I see. It appears to me that Donald Trump has very clearly converted the GOP into the party of David Duke and Richard Spencer. And now, from the people that I talk to on the street in the black community see the GOP as the Confederacy. I think that the grassroots movement are gearing up. And the fact of the matter is, I think Republicans may feel good, but they weren't paying attention to what happened in Virginia. And they're going to pay a dear price.
Kevin, I'll let you get into it just a second. Let me stay on this for a second.
Okay.
I just listed the facts of what's happening in the American economy. Real dollars in the pockets of real Americans. They desperately need. They need help. They need hope. They need opportunity. The president's policies, set aside the rhetoric, the president's policies are having a really positive effect on people from all walks of life. Do you think in any way that means that the president cares, or you think he's just doing it for what reason?
Well, here's what I think. I think these numbers are being skewed for this reason. Because, for this reason, there's an invisible man. His name's George Bush. Politics in our economy did not start when Barack Obama became president. They got wiped out when Barack Obama became president, and he had to try to fix what the GOP screwed up before. And now, because he walked into a mess.
Let's get Kevin. Okay, I want to get back to you, but Kevin, your perspective on this, and we'll get into some of the examples of what other presidents have said that might be a little bit off color, even about other countries. Go ahead.
Well, thanks for taking off my shackles, Laura. Look, everything that this gentleman is saying is completely wrong. It's circa 1960 BS that the left's been selling to blacks for decades, and it's over. Look, Barack Obama was the worst president in history, and Donald Trump has proven, absolutely, and Horace, you're right there, but he's proving that when you're a leader and you go out and you do the right things, that people start to benefit. And the biggest fear that Democrats have is that Donald Trump's success is the biggest fear they have. Look, all these guys, how many black kids are they going to fly over to go save some kid in Mexico? Let me tell you, the Congressional Black Circus, which is what I call them, they have no care whatsoever for the black communities that they serve. They have underserved these communities for decades. And then you get the people like this gentleman to come on and act as if they care about them. They don't care about them. And Donald Trump's doing the things, and you listed all the things, Laura, when you were in the opening, and they want to overlook these. It's ridiculous.
Horace?
This is the most curious form of racism I've ever seen. You work so that over the last 12 months, black Americans are actually getting employed at a higher rate than any other group.
6.8% unemployment.
The gap between blacks and whites is lowest than it's ever been. That means relative growth has been good for people, but for black people, it's been even better. We set a record in June. We set a record in September. We set another record in January.
This is what Martin Luther King's nephew said today when he was asked about this controversy. Let's watch. MLK.
I think President Trump is not a racist, but I do think that he's racially uninformed.
His nephew, Isaac Newton Ferris Jr., he's uninformed. Do I think he's racist? No, he's not. Does any effect on you?
So I don't judge whether a person is racist as a whole. I judge a person on what they do. The statement that.
So what specifically on what was said or alleged to have been said about certain countries where people are coming disproportionately probably through this visa lottery or other ways, maybe chain migration? Barack Obama just a few years back said, the Atlantic magazine, I'm sure you wouldn't take issue with it, he said the mess is the president's diplomatic term. Privately, he calls Libya a show.
Okay.
In part because it's subsequently become an ISIS haven, as has Sudan, as has Somalia. Egypt has huge radicalization problems that they're having to deal with. The president, previous President Obama, called it a show. What's the difference? S-hole, S-show. What's the difference?
Basically, is we destroyed Libya. We destroyed it. Our policy.
Okay, so it's okay to demean the people of that country. It's not their fault. I mean, if that's what I'm saying. If that's the barometer, the word S-hole versus S-show. Do you see how it's ridiculous?
Yeah, but let me say this. You got to take this as a whole and understand the symbolism. But the symbolism was very, very powerful because it wasn't just that he talked about these countries that were of darker people, and then he compared them to. Let me finish. It wasn't that he just talked about these particular countries, and then the good country was Norway.
He just met with a Norwegian leader.
Conveniently, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed country. That's the good country, and the rest of them are. We understand the symbolism there.
LBJ
hold on one
as
second.
president regularly referred to the Civil Rights Act as the in bill, and he actually bragged that Thurgood Marshall was an in that he was going to sit on the court.
How about Teddy Kennedy after the Immigration Act was passed said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to flood America with people from those countries." So he was very concerned about what people would think about the
wait a minute.
Teddy Kennedy.
It doesn't matter if
outrage.
Right,
if a Democrat strangled somebody in 1956, that doesn't mean it's okay to strangle them today. It doesn't matter what they did.
Obama just said this.
Okay, Kevin, go ahead.
When it comes to history, the Democrats are always, going back to the old Negro spirituals and coming out here singing "Swing Low." Look, at the end of the day, there are 65 million refugees in the world. Are they coming from Norway or anywhere in Scandinavia? Are they coming from Canada? Are they coming from America or the UK? No, they're coming from the very places that Donald Trump described. And I'll tell you something else for the Democrats paying attention to this program. What Donald Trump said is what millions of Americans say every single day. We're sending our money to these crap holes, these third world armpits, and expecting something different. We've watched liberal policies ruin not only America, but ruin these countries. They're not industrializing and helping these countries grow. They're feeding dictators.
That's corruption. No, the corruption of these governments. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in El Salvador, Guatemala. And these countries are beautiful places that have been destroyed by corrupt regimes.
Absolutely.
And it's been going on for decades. And there's a reason why most people who are talking about these issues don't vacation there. I submit I've spent more time in Guatemala and El Salvador, including during the war in the 1980s, than most of these people who are talking on their high horses right now. That's all I can say.
We've been part of overthrowing both of those countries. We help overthrow a country, and then we say the country's a piece of crap.
How about we overthrow
President
Baltimore?
Obama said that, and you guys didn't get upset about it.
How about we overthrow Detroit?
There is no President Obama.
How about we overthrow Chicago?
Yeah, we're out of time, but here's what I hope for. I hope for people's lives to get better. I hope for things to calm down.
Absolutely.
I don't think having people turn into perpetual grievance factories when things are getting actually better is good for anyone. I don't think it's good for Republicans. I don't think it's good for Democrats. It shows that you're out of ideas. We need solutions to problems that exist. For the DACA kids, you want a solution, we'll get there. For economic growth, we got to get there. For families of all colors who are having struggles, we got to get there. But to constantly keep people in a state of resistance, for what reason? Whose lives are getting, how many jobs are being created by doing that? How many lives are being improved? I don't think many. That's all I have to say about that.